What's up, guys? Lunch Money coming to you on, what's today, Wednesday?
Yes.
Wednesday. While Wall Street's rich, while Wall Street is trying to get rich, the rest of us is trying to get our lunch money right. Maybe I'll learn how to speak here shortly. I have Miss Polina Marinova, who thankfully doesn't look like she's in prison, doesn't look like she's trying to dress up like me for Halloween. She is ready to go in her nice, what is this, like an art shirt? What is it?
It's not an art shirt.
It kind of looks like an art shirt. It looks like you just painted it on there before today. All right. See, I'm going to give you a hard time today. What's the first topic?
More relief. Senate passes $484 billion coronavirus bill for small businesses and hospital relief and also testing. Did we not already get a bill for small businesses?
This is one of many bills that have been passed. So technically, this hasn't been passed yet. Just the Senate passed it. It now has to go to Congress. They've got to get it done as well. It ultimately gets signed by the president. But what's really important here is 310 of the $484 billion is for the payroll protection program, which is for small businesses. There's a whole bunch of controversy that's been going on with this. Who's been getting it? How much have they gotten? Should they give it back? Etc. But they ran out of money.
Right. But is there a risk that those companies that shouldn't have gotten it will get this batch too?
Well, that's what they're trying to figure out now, right? They're trying to work through the application process. And so this $310 billion is going to go on top of the $350 billion they already have given out. But what's important to remember is more than $1 trillion of loan applications have been put in. Wow. So $350 billion only funded about 3% of the loan applications. Wow. So let's say that they give the $310 billion, it gets approved, and then all of a sudden they go and they start to hand out the loans. What are they going to get to? 6%, 7%, 10% of all the loan applications? They're just going to have to do another bill after that. And so what ends up happening is every time they got to go back and do a bill, you got to go through this process. There's a week that kind of transpires. And so I bet this bill doesn't get passed, if it gets passed, till the end of the week probably. And if the end of the week happens, that means one whole week went by where no one was getting money, businesses were shutting down, and people were getting laid off.
That's crazy.
Not good. Then the other money, though, is in there out of the $484 billion. So 310 goes to small businesses payroll protection program, but the remainder of the capital is for hospitals and for testing. The hospitals is a huge piece that a lot of people don't understand. So if you think of a hospital as a business, they basically have two separate types of business. They've got like the ER, which means you can walk in and you can get something done right there on the spot. And then they've got an entire other part of their business around elective surgeries, primary care, like all the other things that can happen. Because everything's been shut down, dentists are shut down, elective surgeries are shut down, like all of these things. The revenue in a hospital is actually very much high revenue, low volume is where they make all the money, right? Because or a high margin thing. So like when you get a surgery, when you go to the dentist, that's all high margin stuff. The ER is not very high margin for them. And in some cases, actually, they either break even or it's a loss leader. They actually lose money to get you in, diagnose you, and then send you out to some of the high margin stuff. So right now, all of the high margin revenue in a hospital just disappeared because they're not doing anything other than treating this. And so these hospitals are going to come under immense financial pressure. And so the government's going to basically bail them out with some relief funding.
I mean, I say give all the money to the hospitals.
Just give it to. What about small businesses?
Yeah, but like they're not even getting it anyway. Because
well, there are definitely situations like Harvard or Shake Shack, right? All these. I think in the first tranche, 75 publicly traded companies received money from the payroll protection program.
Did some of them give the money back, or was that only Shake Shack?
I'm not sure how many of them gave it back. I know for sure Shake Shack did. I'm sure more of them will be pressured to do it. And look, part of this is not that they did something illegal, right? I think that's a really important piece of this. The rules state if you have less than this many employees, if you do whatever, and then you can apply for this, right? And so that's what they're doing is they're following the rules. But when you zoom out something like Shake Shack, and I don't know if this is exactly what they did, but let's just say they look at each location and say, well, that's a franchise. So that franchise has less than 500 employees, therefore they can get money. Right. Well, yes, but Shake Shack's a $1.6 billion company. Right. And so what's going to end up happening here is they're going to get this stuff sorted out, but we got to get money in the hands of the people that need it. Because remember, I'm actually against doing most of this stuff. Right. I actually don't think that the government should be saving people and should be bailing people out, etc. But if you're going to do it, you got to really do it, and you got to get money into people's hands, right?
Get that lunch money.
Get the lunch money. All right, what's going on with the data breach?
So the Small Business Association or Administration, the Small Business Administration website leaked the personal data of 8,000 small business loan applicants. So that's not good.
What do you think about this?
Well, I mean, it's just not a secure site, apparently.
Well, we don't have all the information, right? And I think part of this is there's a specific portal. It's the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Portal, which is leaked. But leaked could have two things. Either could be somebody hacked the site and literally stole the information, or there could be somebody who, I have your password, right? And I got in that way. So it's unclear exactly what happened here, but definitely there was a lot of PPI, personal identifiable information, PII, that got leaked, and also all of the business information. So think about being a small business right now. You're reeling, you need financial help, you apply for a loan, then bam, somebody just stole your information. And next thing you know, a credit card gets opened in your name or something like that. It's really, really bad.
But if you were one of those people who applied, affected applicants will receive a year of free credit monitoring. Does that kind of? Do
you think that's worth getting hacked?
No, absolutely not.
It's pretty crazy, right?
Yeah, and some of the information that was leaked included social security numbers, tax ID numbers, household size, and phone numbers. I mean, the social security number's pretty bad.
If you were a hacker and you got somebody's phone number, would you call them up?
No, why would I do that? That's a psycho move.
I got your information. No? All right, what's going on with Harvard?
Please don't hack anything, because you wouldn't even do it properly.
Maybe the hacker needs a friend.
Oh my God.
They just want to talk to somebody.
Okay, so you feel very passionately about this, so why don't you tell us what's going on with Harvard?
Harvard took $9 million from the U.S. government for financial aid.
8.6 million.
8.6, whatever. Okay. Nice. I like the fact checking here. And important to know, they did not take it out of the payroll protection program. This was a separate part of the bill where the U.S. government gave schools or colleges billions of dollars, and Harvard received $9 million out of this. Harvard, though, has a $40 billion endowment. And the reason why I feel so passionately about this is you have a school. The school does great things. It educates people. They do research. They do all these they employ people, right? All these things that happen at the school. And then you have an endowment. And the endowment is basically either money from the school or donations from alumni. And they use that kind of core capital or that principal to grow over time. And as they grow that money, they then are supposed to be supporting the school. But there's a couple of nuances that make all of this a sham, in my opinion. The first is
sham.
Endowments pay little to no tax. So almost all of the money grows tax-free, right? Which, okay, sounds fine. But in Harvard's case, for example, the endowment only supports 35% of Harvard's budget on a yearly basis.
What does it use the rest of the money for?
They just keep growing it, right? And so what ends up happening is they take 35% of Harvard's budget and the endowment pays for it. But where does the rest of the money come from? They ask alumni for donations. Mm-hmm. They ask students to take on hundreds of thousands of dollars of student debt to pay for, or they ask the taxpayers through federal funding to give them money so that they can operate their school. Again, I'm fine with that. If you want to run your business however you want, that's okay. But if you take taxpayers' money, you should have to pay the full tax rate. You should not get the tax breaks on your endowment while we're funding your school.
So I've read a bunch of stuff about the criticism, etc. Do we know what Harvard's position on this is? Do they have a compelling reason as to why they took that 8.6 million?
Well, the government specifically carved it out and said, we're going to give this to schools. So it's not like they went and they said they applied for it or anything like that. So
it's the government's fault. So why is Trump?
Well, so the government definitely, and I think the way that the amount of money each one got was determined by how much federal funding they received, right? So it's kind of like on a pro rata basis. So it's not like Harvard went in and said, hey, 8.6 million, whatever. The problem is now there's a bunch of backlash. They're saying, wait a second, why are taxpayers giving you even more money when you have a $40 billion endowment?
It doesn't sound like that's Harvard's problem. That's something the government should figure out.
Well, Harvard could also say we're going to be upstanding citizens to our country and we're not going to take millions of dollars because we have enough money.
Right. So maybe they'll give it back. But who's to say?
Well, that's what everyone's freaking out about now. And here's the bigger piece of this, in my opinion, is it's not just Are they taking the money? Are they not taking the money? Right? Harvard has enough money in their endowment to pay for every student to go to that school for free for 20 plus years. Right? And so again, you can run your business however you want. My whole thing is just pay your taxes.
Right.
They're an asset management firm. The endowment is an asset management firm. They employ investment professionals. They manage billions of dollars, right? All this stuff. Every other asset management firm in the world's got to pay a certain tax rate. Harvard doesn't have to do that because they're supposed to be a school. Yeah. But you don't even pay 50% of the budget of the school. So it's like being a minority shareholder in a business, right? Or do you really own the business? Or do you just have equity in the business? You know what I mean? Like, you don't even provide 50% of the funding for the school. So if you don't provide 50%, why do you get the tax break?
Right.
It's a very nuanced situation. I actually think that what's going to happen here, the schools will give back the money because there's too much public pressure. And then on top of that, there's probably going to be a lot of questions. One fun fact for you, from 2010 to 2015, the Ivy League schools received over $40 billion of federal funding. On average, annually, that's about $4.8 billion per school, I believe. Right?
I need to do more research on this because I don't understand why the private schools are getting federal funding. The state school.
It's all of the programs that they get. So it could be federal Pell grants, like all these things got traced back. And so there was this, it's called openthebooks.com, which is a federally funded part of the government's budget, all about transparency of government spending. And when they traced this all back, what they found was the Ivy League schools, each school receives on average more federal funding than 16 different states in the United States.
Wow.
So there's actually more federal funding going to an Ivy League school than some states, which is just a wild development.
So fun fact, I went to a public school and you went to a private school. Did you receive any federal aid?
I have. I actually don't remember exactly how I got paid for because I also had the Army.
Oh, yeah. Wait, so when you joined with the ROTC?
No.
Wait, how did it work?
I was already in the Army when I joined, and I played football. So there was a whole bunch of things. I actually don't remember the exact breakdown of like where all of the money came from, but they definitely made it possible so that I didn't have to take on a ton of student debt.
Got it.
But I also traded my body, my time, service to the country, et cetera, right? And so part of that is like, I actually am of the belief like the number one problem that has to be solved in America is, or one of the biggest problems is student debt.
Right.
Like we have kids who are graduating with hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. It's just hard to operate and to go build a strong foundation financially if you've got debt.
Yeah.
All right. What's next? Chipotle.
Chipotle agrees to pay $25 million penalty for that 2015 to 2018 norovirus outbreak. Norovirus, not to be confused with coronavirus. This one has to do with like vomiting and diarrhea.
And what, basically people who went to Chipotle got sick?
But do you remember in 2015, there was this big, like I remember there were lines out the door for Chipotle one day. And then the next day, the news was like, norovirus.
I thought it was
there were no lines.
I thought there was E. coli at one point.
I think, well.
Or was that a different time?
Well, no, I think that.
Or is that part of it?
I think that's part of it.
I'm not a scientist.
Well,
I don't know about all the viruses. I just thought that a virus was, I thought they were all just one virus. And now you learn there's like multiple coronaviruses, but we're immune to some, or we have all sorts of things like the common flu. Some of the strains are called coronavirus as well, but it's like a different version. It's wild.
I don't know. We need to do our research, but basically they had a bunch of people. I think it was 1,000 people got sick.
How much? $25 million?
Yeah.
That's a pretty big number.
Well, this is the largest fine ever imposed in a food safety case. More than 1,100 people fell ill from the outbreaks.
Did anybody die?
I don't think so.
No, people just got sick. So it's probably more of, hey, here's a penalty, and you should.
Why did it take them this long?
Well, it's probably got to go through an investigation, all that kind of stuff. But also, it's a penalty not only to punish them, but also to like send a message to everybody else, like take this stuff seriously.
Yeah, like food safety, food handling, all that. Yeah. Do you remember after that hit? Did you go back to Chipotle?
I don't think I ever stopped going to Chipotle.
I don't think you even knew about the. Well, if you experienced any severe vomiting or diarrhea during that period of time, this is why.
Diarrhea is weird, man.
Okay. This has gone way off course. Okay.
You're going to bring me down that rabbit hole. I'll go. Don't worry.
No, you don't have to go.
All right, okay. What's going on with Netflix? I might need to go to the bathroom right now. Go ahead. What's going on with Netflix?
Feel free to roast him in the comments. That's what you do to me. Okay, Netflix. Netflix.
Please don't have another laugh attack. We don't need that right now.
Netflix had its earnings report, and they said they had 16 million new subscribers in the first quarter, I believe, which blew past their projection of 7 million.
How many total?
What do you mean?
Oh, so they increased 23%. That's a big number.
Yeah, but the CEO was very kind of measured, and he was like, this is a terrible crisis. You know, this is only temporary. Don't expect this sort of growth in the future. How much of this do you think was Tiger King?
Actually, not nearly as much as you would think.
Really?
Everyone thinks that Tiger King was so popular. Yeah. Tiger King wasn't even the most watched show on Netflix.
Was it modern?
In the month of March.
What is the one we watched? The trashy one?
Nope, that's not it either.
Tell me what it is.
Blind Love. Love is Blind.
Love is Blind.
Yeah. A newsflash for all the guys out there.
I love that show.
It's actually pretty good. It's pretty funny.
What'd you like about it?
I just like that they're sitting in the pod, right? They're sitting in a room and they got to talk to each other through a wall. I was like, man, that's awesome.
That's kind of how we met. I mean, like, I didn't see we met. He went to.
Are you gonna say I was in a room by myself, locked in there with no windows?
We met. He went to India. You came back, and we just like talked on the phone for like months.
Yeah, I thought I was talking to a robot.
Have such a lovely voice. Like, how can you not?
All right. So the number one show on Netflix, though, was Spencer Confidential, the new Mark Wahlberg show.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Oh, but maybe we'll have to watch it. But yeah, so basically they definitely had these viral hits. Tiger King, you know, because actually, technically, you know what you could say about Netflix? No, do you know what you could say? It was Carol fucking Baskin.
Like, I knew that before you even thought it.
But right? I mean, like, Netflix at this point has to be replacing television for most people.
That and TikTok.
TikTok, you think, really?
Do you remember this morning I was watching TikTok?
Yeah, but they're not very interesting.
I got sucked in.
It's just a war of attention. Rich Greenfield told me, he's like a big analyst on Wall Street for media and technology. And he said to me, most people look at it as like streaming wars. So Spotify versus Apple Music, whatever. And they look at like Hulu versus Netflix. And then they look at television cable providers also. He goes, the problem that everyone is missing is it's just a war on attention.
Yeah.
Right? It's who can get. If you look at 24 hours in a day, you're going to sleep, let's call 6 to 8 of them. Then the remainder of your day, everyone's competing for every second of that time. And so actually Instagram is competitive with Netflix, which is competitive with music, which is competitive with television, which is competitive with book publishers, right? And they're all competing for how much of your time can I get? And then you can also look at your phone and get your screen time and things like that.
I do think it's very generational though, right? Like your parents, my parents, they will forever kind of be like, their attention goes to the TV. It doesn't, as much as Netflix grows, and I don't know. I think for us it'll be big, but
my parents put on the television as like it's background music.
Right. Yeah.
They just turn it on and just play it. Yeah. What TV stations?
Maybe we need some background music in here. I'm tired of listening to your voice.
I need earplugs
for yourself. Okay. And then
last one. What else we got?
So there's this 6-year-old Russian girl. She's 6. She is.
You said girl like you had a question about it.
I was going to say child.
Well, 6 years old is a child and can be a girl.
She is YouTube's most popular child star. Guess how many? Oh no, I already told you. Well, you guys can't guess because you can't tell me.
Are you struggling?
She has 53 million YouTube subscribers. How many do you have? We have
not that many. I mean, it's basically your channel, your show at this point. 53 million is a lot. And also her videos, some of the videos have over 100 million views, you said, right?
So we watched one of her videos. It's really well done. It's on.
And you can watch it and like she's speaking Russian. She's speaking Russian, but you can still tell what's going on through the animations and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty good. What is the name of the thing? You got to tell people this.
It's it's called Nastya.
What's that mean?
Nastya. I think that's short for her name, Anastasia.
Well, as an American who doesn't understand Russian, it's spelled nasty A.
See, this is why Americans are dumb. Okay.
Anything else? Any last minutes? 4 seconds? Anything? Words for the people?
Words for the people. Yeah. I mean, just be kind.
You're really on the be kind train there. All right, guys, listen, we appreciate you watching. Lunch Money every day, noon-ish, sometime around noon if we get our shit together. Wall Street's trying to get rich. The rest of us is trying to get our lunch money right.
Do you have your lunch money right today?
Yeah, of course. I had Chick-fil-A yesterday.
This morning?
Big win yesterday with the Chick-fil-A.
This morning I threatened him that I would take his lunch money. Remember?
Yeah, like a bully. Like a bully.
No, I was kind though. I was kind to my friend.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.